This is session number 6 of the Sales Mastermind podcast. Today in the hot seat we have Pete Roberts. Hit the music. Hello and welcome to the Sales Mastermind podcast. Get ready to harness the power of the Mastermind community and take your sales to the next level. I'm your host, Jonathan Stewart. Today's question comes from Pete Roberts. He asked, what is the best tactic for marketing on Snapchat? So I just want to make sure that I cover more than just one tactic. So I will talk about what I think the best tactic is and what I'm most excited about on Snapchat. But I do want to make sure that I cover several different tactics here that you can use based on what kind of business you have. So just on a quick introduction, Snapchat, you've probably heard of it before, but it's just now seemingly taking hold as an effective marketing tool. It started somewhere around 2011 as just kind of a glorified messaging app that was used by kids, teenagers, but now it has grown into a very popular platform for marketers to reach out to their fans and their customers. And so this is a very timely thing that we can talk about right now, and I believe this will be useful for you and the people listening. So I want to provide 5 effective marketing tactics. The first one is kind of the most exciting and one of the coolest marketing tools out there on Snapchat. So it's called Geo-Filter Advertising. So if you've used Snapchat a little bit, you know what a filter is. Essentially what that is when you take a picture, you can swipe from right to left on the screen, and you can add either an overlay of a picture of some sort. Maybe that has to do with a location, a city name, a national monument, different things like that. And you can put that on your picture so that when you post it for your friends to see on your story or you send that over to a friend, it shows that particular filter over that picture. And so what they did is they have allowed people to pay to have certain specific geographic locations automatically have different filters pop up. So let's say that you're a company and you have a sale or a promotion going on. You can have that particular sale or promotion pop up as a geo filter based on the location of your store. Kind of a unique thing. So I want to talk about 3 basic ways that you can use these geo filters. The first one is you can use them promotionally. So kind of like I mentioned there, if you had a retail store, you could have a certain sale or promotion show up as a geo-filter near your store. And so anytime that somebody would take a picture and swipe over, they would see that particular promotion, and it could potentially drive them into your store. This could also be used promotionally at a trade show where there are tons of different vendors, a lot of people congregated in that area taking pictures. Then you could show your brand as one of the filters that way. Through that, you could use this at sporting events if your product relates to sporting events, and you could have certain promotions that people at the sporting event would want. And one of the things you want to make sure is that this filter also ties into the people that are there. So if it's a sporting event, you could, of course, play on whatever sport that is, so baseball, football, basketball, etc., and get those people to want to share that picture with their friends or potentially take advantage of the promotion that you're offering. This could be used at college campuses. This could be used at national parks. Anything where a lot of people are gathering, this could be very effective. So one of the cool things out there right now, as we are in the primary season, we're seeing that Bernie Sanders is using geo-filters near primary voting areas to spread awareness of his campaign. It's kind of cool. He had several with his marketing message, how he's not funded by the billionaires and he's going to reform Wall Street, and all the different messages that he has. He's using those through geo-filters, and so kind of a unique, cool way to promote. And I believe one of the reasons is he's using this is because he has a lot of younger people that are following him. So it's very important for his campaign. So promotional, the first way you can use geo-filter advertising. The second way, and this is a little bit more black hat, a little bit more controversial, but disruptive. You could use geo-filters in a disruptive sense. So on the other flip side, you have Bernie Sanders using it to promote his own campaign. I saw one with Cruz doing an anti-Donald Trump message near polling areas, kind of hijacking other people's events. This could be done at maybe different stores where if you're a Home Depot, then you could have near a Lowe's, you could have coupons and stuff pop up. Now you want to make sure that This is not derogatory. This is not hateful. This is not anything that could be taken the wrong way, but you do this in good taste. Now, Rob Stewart also asked me on Snapchat what I thought about disruptive geo-filters being used on competitors' premises. And really what I think is it comes down to what I said a second ago. If it's done in good taste, it's done in fun and kind of in jest with positive elements, then I think it's effective. I think it could be a cool way to get your brand out there in a kind of a creative way. And if you do it that way, then I'm for it. I think it's a cool way. The third one is sponsorship geo-filters. So let's say that you have a big event. It's a trade show once again, or it is a get-together for a different club or something. What you could do is, as a realtor or as a company, you could sponsor that event, create cool artwork that people would want to add to the pictures that are there, and it could say sponsored by and have your company logo down below. And this could be a very effective way to not only add value to people so they think of your brand in a positive way, but also you're getting your brand out there in a very cool, creative way. So Geo-Filter Advertising, very cool, very exciting, something you definitely need to check out. So the first tip, Geo-Filter Advertising. The next of the 5 effective marketing tactics is to use Snapchat to give out exclusive deals and coupons to those who are friends of your brand or of your company. You can send this directly out to certain followers that you have, certain exclusive coupons and promotions to your store. Third effective marketing tactic is to use Snapchat as a call to action tool. So one of the things about Snapchat is it has a really high engagement level. People, since it's still a new enough app and it's still not as crowded as some of the social media platforms out there, the engagement level is very high for Snapchat. And so if you use it as a call to action tool, the chances are you'll get a lot better rate of engagement on that particular post than you would on anything else. And so an example of this would be to drive your audience and your friends to post different pictures of them using your product, and you can say, we'll feature you on our Twitter account or our Facebook or our Instagram or whatever, and you maybe attach to that, use this predetermined hashtag and take a so-and-so picture or take a picture with this particular product. And not only is it fun for your fans to kind of get involved and exciting for them to get featured maybe on your different accounts, but it gets your brand out there in a way, and possibly in a viral way, that you couldn't do by yourself. And it's cool because it also mixes different social media platforms together. So that's a cool way to use it as a call to action tool. A fourth cool marketing tactic would be to use it to build excitement for product launches by showing exclusive behind-the-scenes previews, teasers, and information that you would not release elsewhere. Build that excitement. One of the things that Apple has proven and Tesla has proven, that if you do this correctly, you can get tons and tons of excitement, tons of fan loyalty, and tons of pre-orders by building this excitement. And this is a great way to do it. The fifth marketing tactic that I've seen used, and I think is really cool, is to use Snapchat to run different contests. So one of the popular ones I think would be really cool would be to do maybe a Snapchat scavenger hunt, and the first person to take these certain pictures of these certain items can win a certain prize. And so that could be a cool way just to build up excitement, get people interacting with you on Snapchat, but also driving them into your store. So those are the 5 basic marketing tactics I think that are very effective on Snapchat. Once again, my favorite, the one I think that can be the most effective, is if you use Geo-Filter Advertising correctly. I think that could be very effective and very fun to use. So I just want to make sure, and as we get into some basic tips, that you remember that on social media, it's always best to use content that is native to the platform. So, when you're looking at what the content that you create for Twitter, the content you create for Periscope, the content that you create for Facebook, it's going to be a lot different than the content that you create for Snapchat. Snapchat is naturally a place for humor and kind of cheeky, funny things. And so you need to kind of think about this as you're doing your products. Now, obviously, keep it clean, keep it clever, and keep it funny. That's going to be effective for you on Snapchat. Now, some of the Snapchat basics, if you haven't used it much, then these are going to be very helpful for you. Even if you have used Snapchat quite a bit, I'm going to go into a few tips that maybe you haven't heard before. But with getting started, like any social media platform, you have to have an audience. If you don't have an audience, there'll be no one to send your content out to. And one of the interesting things about Snapchat is there is no discoverability feature built into Snapchat. You can't search for people that like a certain thing, or you can't search via hashtag and find people that have used that particular hashtag. You can only add people one of three basic ways. One, if you have their snap code. So their snap code is just the picture that has a ghost silhouette with their picture in it, and it looks kind of strange, but it's essentially like a QR code, and the app can read that and automatically add that person with that snap code. The second way you can add people is if you know their exact username. So you can type in their exact username on the Add Friend section of Snapchat, and you can add them that way. The third basic way is you can add people by importing their information from your phone address book. And so it'll search based on the phone numbers that you have and the names that you have in your address book. And if it matches up to Snapchat users, then it will automatically add them as friends too. So those are three basic ways. So if you want to be discovered on Snapchat, I'm going to give you three ways to do this. The first is kind of a newer way, and this is called Ghost Codes. It's a new app it's a third-party app that was created, and this allows people to register and set up a basic profile with their snap code, with information about them. They can also categorize themselves based on what they're in. So if they are a small business owner, if they are an entrepreneur, if they are into photography, for instance, that's some of the categories that you can put yourself under. And then people can come and they can find you, download your snap code, and add you as a friend that way. And so this is actually taking the place of kind of normally what is built into most social media apps where you can search for people, but now you can do it as a third-party application. Since I've been noticing a lot more people adding me. So it's been a very effective way to get your name out there. So you need to use the Ghost Codes app for sure. The second way that you can get people to add you on Snapchat to promote your snap code on other social media channels. So one really effective way to do this is to not just post your Snapchat picture everywhere that you are on social media. Do that, but also try piggybacking off a current event to give people a reason to follow you. So one recent example that I saw was somebody was posting on Twitter that they're going to be at a Donald Trump rally, and they'll be snapping pictures and videos of it live. And so that's a good reason. They were giving a good call to action for their followers on Twitter to come follow them on Snapchat if they were interested in seeing kind of behind the scenes, and also as things happen there at the rally, they could see live pictures and live videos. So that's a good call to action for people to follow you. So just think about this. Promote your snap code on your other social media channels that you already have good following, and that'll naturally get people to come over. But make sure that you give them a reason to follow you. The third way, and this really is just kind of a general way to get people to join you on Snapchat, but it's just provide valuable and really fun, exciting content, and then ask people to share their snap code with their friends. You know, like anything in business, in sales, in marketing, we call this referrals. You know, ask people to refer you to their friends. If you've provided good service, then people will naturally want to do so. If you're providing good quality, fun content on Snapchat, then when you ask people to do so, they'll be happy to tell their friends about it if they have not already. Now, I just want to share a bonus pro tip of how you can share a web URL on your different platforms as well that people can directly add you. The URL is simply snapchat.com/add, ADD, / and then your username. So for instance, if you wanted to add me, it would be snapchat.com/add / sales purpose. Now, we want to keep in mind as we build a following on Snapchat, like any other social media tool, this is a tool to build trust and relationships and to communicate with your followers, with your fans, and with your customers. You know, it's a good way to sell products. It's a good way to market products. But if that's all you do, people don't want to follow you, and you will not have engaged fans. And so make sure that you're using it majority of the time to build relationships, build trust, build excitement, and give that behind-the-scenes special look into your business. And make sure that you're providing content that is native, like we talked about before. Now, I just want to close with why I think that Snapchat is so effective and why you should definitely be on it. One of them is, as busy and as popular as Snapchat is, it still is quite a bit less crowded and less busy than other social media platforms out there right now. So what that means to you is less busy, less noisy. It's easier to stand out. And so it'll be easier to get your message out there. It'll be easier to grow a following than it will be if you wait. Second of all, since it's kind of a little bit more difficult to add Snapchat friends, this leads to less spam and more people that you're following are actually people that you care about. And so if you can get people to add you as a friend, since they're only going to have, maybe a handful of people they're following, most people do, then you're going to be kind of in their elite circle of friends in a sense, and they will see what you put up. Third reason I think it's really important that you get on Snapchat is that it's a very authentic way to just show people who you are, who your brand is, and what you're all about. And then the fourth reason is, what other social media platform allows you to take up the real estate of the entire person's phone? When they're looking at your story or your snaps, your pictures, it's taking up the entire screen. You have the entire real estate of that screen, and that's a pretty incredible thing to be able to do and to share your content that way. Just one fifth reason why you need to be on Snapchat. The way that Snapchat is set up, since the content actually disappears in a story, it disappears in 24 hours. On a direct snap, it actually disappears after you've viewed it. And so if you do it right, you can actually view it twice. You could do a reviewing of it. But essentially, after you view it, it goes away. And so when people play that snap or they see that they have a direct message and they watch it, people pay attention because they know if they don't pay attention, they're going to miss it. So these are the reasons why you should be using Snapchat. It's a very effective marketing tool, and I believe it can be very effective for your business if you use it correctly. So I hope these tips were helpful for you. Just want to remind you that the show notes for this episode will be at salespurpose.com/session 006. And if you want to check out the links that we mentioned and some of the basic tips that we mentioned, you can find that there. Also want to mention that you can follow the Sales Purpose blog. There's a lot of good content and other marketing, other social media, other sales psychology-based content there on the Sales Purpose blog that you can check out. Also wanted to let you guys know that if you want your question answered here on the Sales Mastermind podcast, just simply go to salespurpose.com and click on the podcast link there up in the menu. And there's several ways that you can get your question answered here on the Sales Mastermind podcast. And I do also just want to thank you once again for listening, and I look forward to helping you in the next episode. Have a good one. Thank you for listening to the Sales Mastermind podcast. Be sure to check out the show notes below for any resources or sites mentioned in the podcast. Also be sure to subscribe and join the Facebook community to continue the conversation. Here's to your success.